It's 8:30. Good morning. I'm Ian Crouch with Hunter News. Fire crews are continuing to backburn to control a large bushfire at Taylor's Beach. The fire, which is being treated as suspicious, broke out in swampland off Shearwater Drive on Friday and flared up near Horizons Resort yesterday afternoon. The 218-hectare blaze is now burning at advice level and is not posing any threat to property. RFS Superintendent Martin Simpson says residents should follow the advice of firefighters on the ground.
For those residents that are immediately in and around the Taylor's Beach area or the Salamander, Nelsons Bay Road and Horizon is to make sure that they keep a watch of this fire and ensure that they're keeping informed. Close doors and windows because there is a fair bit of smoke in and around this area in between Salamander Way and Nelson Bay Road.
A teenage girl is nursing multiple injuries and fractures after falling from a cliff at Catherine Hill Bay. The 17-year-old was jumping from the cliff into the water yesterday afternoon when she lost her footing and fell up to 15 metres onto rocks. She was treated at the scene before being flown to the John Hunter Hospital in a stable condition by the Westpac Rescue helicopter. Meanwhile, a 40-year-old man has been flown to the Royal North Shore Hospital Burns unit after a burn-off went horribly wrong at his Kitchener property on Friday night. He was using accelerant on the fire when it caught alight, leaving him with serious burns. It's hoped Hunter tenants and property owners will find some added security when the New South Wales rental package returns to Parliament in 2 weeks. The rental package has not been fully detailed despite being announced 4 weeks ago, and local MPs are hopeful the debate will lead to more assistance for people facing hardship because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Shadow Minister for the Hunter, Clayton Barr, says there are a lot of nervous people in his electorate.
In the Cessnock area, we've got somewhere near 7,000 individual landlords. In the Upper Hunter, you've got more than 7,000. These are really big numbers of people who are probably living right on the edge of what they can afford and how much mortgage and money they owe to the bank. As much as the tenants who live inside the house are nervous, there's thousands of landlords who are also very nervous about what's going to happen next.
The Hunter New England Health Region has recorded another case of coronavirus in the 24 hours to Saturday night, taking the region's total confirmed cases to 280. New South Wales Health says 218 people have now recovered from the virus in our region, and more than 21,300 people have been tested for COVID-19 since the pandemic began. Meanwhile, a Newcastle man has been fined $1,000 after being caught for the second time in Sydney in breach of the government's travel restrictions. Police noticed the man in Haymarket on Saturday, with a cheque revealing he'd been given a warning on April 16. He told police he'd been visiting a friend. Hunter students are returning to school part-time this week, and Cool Australia is making courses available online to help parents assist their children while working at home. Students will return for 1 day a week due to the coronavirus lockdown, but may be back to normal after term 3. Cool Australia Managing Director Jason Kimberley says the courses help address a range of issues while children are in isolation.
So we've a whole range of lessons here. So we're looking at how we can improve work on mental health during isolation, obviously not being with your friends and in familiar environments. Also looking at physical exercise and diet in isolation. Don't want everyone hanging around on the couch, stuck on their screens. There needs to be a balance between the work that you're doing on the screen and also that physical activity.
2NURFM Sport.
Lake Macquarie coach Steve Kidd is calling for this year's Newcastle Rugby League competition to be scrapped if crowds aren't allowed to attend matches. He's also dismissed suggestions players should play for free after a potential loss of sponsorship has already impacted player payments. Steve Kidd says clubs like Macquarie could better pool their resources into next year if government restrictions still exist by their proposed starting date. New South Wales Rugby League announced last week they're looking at kick-starting a revised season by July 18. Northern New South Wales Football is pushing back plans for the women's competition to reach a National Premier League status until 2022. Chief Executive David Eland says clubs don't have the time to dedicate to the process, and they're focused on getting back on the park for their 2020 season. Officials are already planning a July restart for the women's season, with the competition reduced to 14 rounds. And Hunter horse racing part owner Peter Brown has farewelled star sprinter In Her Time. The 7-year-old mare was edged into second place by a fast-finishing Sweet Scandal in Saturday's Hawkesbury Crown at Rose Hill. And the winning numbers in Weekend Lotto are 17, 15, 34, 23, 38 and 3, and the supplementaries are 31 and 18. 2NURFM News Time, 25 to 9.